everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. Today I'm going to be comparing Radiohead's OK Computer. What I have here is a 2017 20th anniversary edition of this album and a first UK pressing from 1997. So, these two against each other, which one sounds the best? Let me start off with the version that started all for me. Well, basically, I knew about this record when I did film school. A lot of the fellow students were just talking about this record and very enthusiastic, and I was very much in my 70s and 60s period. So I gave it a shot. I gave it a shot digitally, and obviously, I fell in love. I think it's it's easy to say that this is the dark side of the moon of the 90s. It has so much to say. It's such a brilliant album. And sound wise, there's so much going on. This band is so out there. It's such a beautiful treasure. So I fell in love with it digitally. And a couple of years later, I went to the record fair in those days, still in Utrecht, which is now in the Brabanthalle. Coincidentally, this weekend is another edition. And I was crate digging and I found this one for 25 bucks. I didn't even see it was a first UK pressing. I was just very happy to find a version of this record for 25 bucks. So I bought it. And when I got home, I listened to it for the first time on vinyl, and it was such a magical experience. I'll show you a bit of this packaging. Um, I'm not going to get the sleeve out. I'm not going to show you the gatefold. For a very simple reason, I do not want to damage the cardboard sleeve. And this was the sleeve I got it in, and it's very tight, so not doing that. But what I can show you are the inner sleeves here. I really love the artwork here. It screams 90s in a certain way. And then the records, they look like this. Um, Only downside, or the first downside to notice, is that it's very hard to find which record is on which side, unless you're a true fan who knows it by heart. And by now, I'm getting the hang of finding the songs I like most. Although this is one of those records you just want to listen to thoroughly, but it doesn't show which record on which side. It doesn't. It doesn't even show it on the back. There's a track list, so you really have to make an estimation yourself. Very alternative, let's call it that. But I prefer a little bit of an easier, uh, less intellectually challenging cover. Nevertheless, talking about the sound here, this is a gorgeous pressing. The first UK. Um, I wasn't switching volumes on my receiver. Um, just my normal volume. It goes for an average of 85 decibel and a maximum of 92 decibel. Of course, you can change volume, so that information is only relevant when I'm going to compare it to the other one. But I just gave you a heads up. Gorgeous. This has an incredible dynamics. It has incredible nuance. The voice here sounds beautifully detailed and full and natural, and I really love it. I love the detail and the texture, especially in the highs. It has a beautiful representation of the high. The piano here, for example, I mean, it's just a treasure to behold how good the piano sounds. The bass here is very full, very not boosted at all. It's just beautifully balanced, full and there, and the entirety of the spectrum of sound here is just phenomenal. This is one of the standout pressings in my collection, and especially for a 90s pressing, because 90s pressing generally have a bad reputation because the trend was leaning a lot more towards CD, As a matter of fact, sometimes a vinyl became a novelty in those days, and some records didn't even have a vinyl release at all. I did a video about the top 5 best vinyl pressings from 1997 a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, this one is at the number 1, but I also had the Robbie Williams record, Live Through a Lens, there. And I have a first pressing, but the first pressing is just a couple of years old because they didn't release a vinyl at the time. So vinyl was a novelty. And if you listen to the beautiful quality of this one, this is definitely one of the best sounding first pressings of the 90s. They took real care in it. Yeah, real care of it. Now, why, with such a beautiful pressing, is there any need for a reissue if you haven't got one already? Let me tell you, because a couple of years ago, in 2017, they released a 20th anniversary. And there are two very interesting reasons to buy this one. First is the incredible amount of more songs. Now, all of these songs are remasters of the original album and remasters of the B-sides, and some unreleased tracks, I believe. Yeah, unreleased tracks. So you get a lot more of Radiohead at the time of OK Computer. Second reason to buy this one is it's mastered by one of the best, perhaps even the best mastering engineer that ever lived, Robert Ludwig, also known as Bob Ludwig. So, first of all, I'll show you the packaging. It's a trifold, which I think is brilliant because it's the easiest way to get the records out and to give every record their own share of attention. Now, also, not just the inner, everything has beautiful artwork. For example, these are the inner sleeves. Different artwork, though, from the original. I'll show you. Yeah, they did a great job. They took great attention. And as a matter of fact, this record was released with the supervision of the band. So, is this the ultimate version of OK Computer? Well, musically, you'll have to decide that for yourself, because I always prefer to go with an original release tracklist wise, and I think it's easy to get a record too long. But there's a lot of bonus that is interesting, and that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to have this. Sound wise, now the band is involved, Robert Ludwig is involved. There's a very interesting difference on this one. I made a comment about the decibels and the volume on the other pressing, and this one has the same maximum volume. Didn't touch the button there, same maximum volume, 92 decibel. Only the average of what you hear is 4 decibels softer. That's 81 decibel. And that's not just a technical piece of information, it is noticeable. A lot of moments on the tracks are softer on this one than on the other one. They created more dynamics. And of course, you can put the volume higher then, so voice and guitar or main parts of the music are generally the same, but where do you put it then? What's your reference of decibels here? I think it's an interesting choice because they're trying to add more dynamics to the record. I'm not sure if it's on the master tape or not, and I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. Sound wise, apart from the dynamics and the volume dynamics, it's quite similar. Minor differences here. The piano sounds less full than on the other one. It seems to be a little bit more heavier on the bass. I hear a little bit less presence on the voice. I hear a little bit more high definitions, more high frequencies. The amount of detail is stunning. It's very good. This is a great pressing. This is obviously a great, great pressing. Very good. Incredible. Yet there is something about the texture of the first UK that makes me prefer that one. But that's only a very personal experience. I just like the texture of the sound on the other one better. And all right, the other one is a brilliant, 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 gorgeous pressing. Yet, very important question here. This one goes for about 30 to 40 bucks. The first UK goes for about 300 bucks. Is that worth the difference? Well, if you have the first one and you're not interested in the bonus tracks, you don't have to bother. If you have this one, why pay 300 for the first? So both are really brilliant versions of this record. My personal preference in this case goes to the first UK, but it is emotionally a slight difference. So I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.